Welcome to the November 29th meeting of the Murfreesboro City Council. Councilmember Ronnie Martin has our prayer and our pledge.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this opportunity to be together, and we're thankful for all those that are present, especially mindful of the holiday season that we just enjoyed and the ones that we will continue to enjoy moving forward. We're thankful for all those that put their lives at risk on a daily basis to protect us and keep us safe, and we're thankful for the work that our staff and our city does for our citizens. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's been about 3 weeks, I think, since we've all gotten together. So since then, we've had Thanksgiving. So happy belated Thanksgiving to everyone. I think we have Youth Leadership Rutherford. Are y'all in the audience tonight? If you are with Youth Leadership Rutherford, why don't you stand up, please? I also want to make one quick comment. Saturday is a pretty important day. MTSU is playing in the first ever Conference USA Championship, and it is at Floyd Field. So we want to make sure and encourage all of our residents to go out. The game's at 12:30 against University of Alabama Birmingham, the same team that we beat last Saturday handily. Yeah, so it's going to be a big night, big day, and really urge all the residents to please go out and support your home team in your hometown. It's a nationally televised game, and like as many people to be there as possibly can. So, all right. We have one ceremonial item. Ms. Russell.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. As you know, the STARS program is intended to recognize outstanding employees who embody the city standards for service excellence and exemplify the city's core service values. This evening, we are recognizing Tommy Miller, who is a mechanic with the Fleet Department. Mr. Miller was nominated by Fire and Rescue Captain Josh Oliver for the following. On October 29th, the Murfreesboro Fire and Rescue Department responded to the Fleet Department for a mulching machine on fire. Heavy smoke and flames were present on arrival. Mr. Miller assisted the fire and rescue units on scene with his extensive knowledge of how the machine was built and the expertise of dismantling the parts of the equipment to help extinguish the fire. Mr. Miller represented the best of what city employees have to offer when we work together as a team. The job was accomplished efficiently and effectively with the help of Mr. Miller. He went above and beyond on this day, and his assistance was appreciated by everyone on the scene. Congratulations, Mr. Miller, for being nominated recipient of the STARS Award for Outstanding Performance.
Tell what your name is.
Easton.
Easton. All right.
Easton, this is Kaylee.
All right. Thank y'all for coming. All right.
He thought Easton was going to pick you up. Easton was going to pick you up.
I know. All right.
Ain't funny.
You know what we're talking about with Tommy. For those of us, those who've been at the city council for years, we've talked about Hogzilla, which is the mulcher out there. So as we're talking about Tommy winning his award, we want to acknowledge that we hope Hogzilla rests in peace. So it did not make it through. All right, you have the consent agenda in front of you.
Mayor,
I think there's one item on the consent agenda. It's item 6 that I would like for us to discuss in a workshop at a later date. So if we could remove item 6, if there's anybody else with a question or concern.
Okay.
Is there anybody?
I'm fine to discuss what the workshops are for.
If there's not, I'll make a motion that we approve excluding item 6 on the consent agenda.
All right.
Well, I have an item to pull or to
Okay.
defer. Number 7, I'd like to have deferred so that there can be a little bit more discussion.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that at a workshop, or you want with Parks and
I think
Recreation?
I would just defer to the rec department to do a further
Okay.
conversation and then maybe bring it back to us.
Okay.
Okay, let me amend my motion to exclude items 6 and 7 then, and other than that, I'll move for approval.
Second.
This is a motion excluding number 6 and number 7, Ms. Wright. All right. Ms. Wright, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. And Bill, I just got an email yesterday letting us know about T-ball and baseball sign-ups.
There
So
you
it's
go.
already that time.
That's right. It sure is.
All right. You have the minutes for the November 1st special meeting and the November 14th regular meeting. Any additions or deletions to the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Wright, will please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. We'll move into old business, and we'll consider rezoning approximately 204 acres located south of John Bragg Highway for second reading ordinance 18 OZ 58.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Wright?
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. We'll now move to rezone approximately 29.4 acres along Buffalo River, 2018-428. This is the second reading for ordinance 18 OZ 59.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Wright, if you'll please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. We now move into new business, and we have a retail liquor certificate of compliance. It's a new location, Michael Halem Beer and Liquor Depot, LLC, at 2002 East Main Street, public hearing. We'll have to conduct a public hearing. Ms. Wright?
Mayor, this is a location that's had liquor there before. It is a change of ownership, and the background inspection is in order, so
Okay.
we just need to have the public hearing.
Okay, whenever we have a public hearing, have a few things that we ask. If you're speaking, please come to the podium, state your name and your address. If you'll direct all questions to the city council. If you're representing a group, you'll have 5 minutes. Otherwise, you have 3 minutes. We'll get all the questions that you have answered at the end of when we close the public hearing. So we need to conduct a public hearing for this certificate of compliance. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and we'll consider this retail liquor certificate of compliance.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Wright, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. We'll move into land use matters. And our first item is to rezone approximately 11.1 acres located along Susan Landon Drive and Cedar View Drive, 2018-430. Ms. Green.
Thank you. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on October 3rd to consider a zoning amendment and zoning change for property located along Jackson Allen Drive, Susan Landon Drive, and Cedar View Drive. You can see the property on the map before you. There are 3 colors indicated in this area. The just orange color is currently zoned PRD, Planned Residential District, and allows the development of 105 single-family attached townhome lots. 27 in that section, I'm sorry. I was looking at my numbers. The developer wishes to amend a portion of the approved PRD, and that's identified with the hatch pattern over the orange, and then add acres to this property. So the area that's shaded orange is the area which they're proposing to be added to the PRD. Additionally, there is a blue area to the north, which is currently public right-of-way. Tonight, you'll consider an application to abandon a portion of this right-of-way, and that request is to abandon that portion of excess right-of-way and include it in the development plan. So overall, there are several parcels for a total of 11.1 acres that are a part of this request. They were previously subdivided as a commercial subdivision, but this commercial subdivision has existed for many years and hasn't been developed. And so they thought that the townhomes would be a good transition from the commercial along Memorial to the single-family detached that exists to the rear of the property. So the applicant has requested all these properties to be zoned PRD and be a part of the same PRD program book, which is called the Villas at Regal Square. And you have a copy, of course, in your PDF, and you also paper copies have been made available. Existing PRD includes 27 units in the area that proposed to be added will have 78 dwelling units, and so that's a total of 105 dwelling units. The density was previously 7.4. The density was previously 10.5 dwelling units per acre, and now they're proposing it to be 9.5, including the additional area. The program books outlines the details for the development, specifically the type of architecture materials that are proposed. These units will have parking behind the building, so what you'll see from the right-of-way will be the front of the structures and not the parking lots. And they're proposed to be served with carts by a private hauler. They have requested a reduced front setback because unlike most of the other developments in this type of development, they're not going to have driveway parking. They're going to have parking lot to the rear screened by the buildings. There was quite a bit of discussion from the Planning Commission on this application, although no one spoke at the public hearing at that time, particularly about the location of the dog park and amenities. As proposed at Planning Commission, the area which I showed you that was shaded blue, the right-of-way, had a dog park proposed in that area, and the Planning Commission were concerned about the impact that a dog park may have that close to existing single-family residential. So their approval was subject to 3 conditions. One was that dog park within the blue area, the area that's currently Cedar View right-of-way, be removed. The second condition was that the dog park proposed in the existing PRD be enlarged so that it can accommodate more people and pets. And the third condition was that an additional formalized amenity be added since the dog park was being removed. I'm going to invite Mr. Clyde Roundtree to the lectern in just a moment to go through the specifics of this book, and he'll propose to you a plan that shows a bocce ball court. And Planning Commission was comfortable forwarding this to you with a positive recommendation with those 3 conditions, and did want me to make sure to point that out to you and see if you felt that what they have presented to you is appropriate. 7 members of the Planning Commission were present the evening of this public hearing, and all 7 did recommend approval subject to those 3 conditions which I described. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them either before or after the public hearing. And as promised, I'll invite Mr. Roundtree to the lectern at this moment. Before he comes up, would you like me to answer any questions?
Ms. Green, you mentioned something about the density levels. So how are we going from RS-15 to the townhomes, and it's not increasing the density? Is it?
The density in existing villas, PRD, I'm comparing the density in existing townhomes. Of course, RS-15 allows about 3 to 4 dwelling units per acre.
So you're just saying the new is coming in at approximately whatever the old was?
Yes, that's right.
How many acres is the RS-15?
The RS-15 is 5 acres is RS-15. And 6.1 is currently zoned PRD.
All right.
All right, Mr. Roundtree.
Good evening, Mayor McFarland, Commissioners. My name is Clyde Roundtree with Huddleston Steel Engineering, and thank you first off for the opportunity to present this to you. We're excited about Regal Square. Working with Mr. Larry Gilliland, who's here tonight, if you have any questions specifically for the developer. We've been working on this project for a while, and Margaret did a great job presenting it, but just kind of wanted to make sure you understood how it kind of morphed. The original plan development was really, like she said, for the original 27 units, and the opportunity came about for the land behind this property to be sold. Mr. Gilliland had a good relationship with that owner, so they were excited about the opportunity of him buying it and really expanding the program, which you see on the plans tonight. So with that in mind, I'll walk you through a brief presentation of the various components of the project. As Margaret Ann mentioned, it's on Jackson Allen Road, and Jackson Allen is actually a very nice road. It's a wide street. It's got curb and gutters, and it goes through a commercial area. So unique to this situation, the commercial buildings that are on Jackson Allen and 231 are almost residential in scale. So it is a commercial development, but at the same time, it has a really nice character in terms of the buildings look more like houses than they do your traditional commercial buildings. So we wanted to play on that as far as just the intimacy that you already feel with those commercial buildings. And as Margaret Ann mentioned, we're asking for reduced front setbacks. That was originally a part of the original plan development request. And what that's about, and we're seeing that more throughout the city, is we're really trying to make the appearance of these new neighborhoods have a more urban kind of feel, a little bit more of a neighborly feel, where there's not as many driveways just kind of cross-secting all the yards, but actually give you more of a front door kind of feeling. So that's real consistent throughout the whole development. That's one of the things we're really excited about. It's going to have a very different kind of vibe as you move into Regal Square based on how the orientation of the buildings are. So this is just existing conditions. You can see the commercial buildings on the front side, and you see the site, the whole 11-acre site. So as far as overall, just some of the general conditions, currently the area that was purchased originally with the original PRD was basically open land that was basically designed and graded ready for commercial building. The portion we're moving into is much more of what you'd expect from a residential home. That 5 acres has large trees, a large home on it. We'll be going into that area, hopefully preserving some of those trees or relocating some of the trees. But right now it's got a decent buffer on the southern property line, a decent buffer on the eastern property line. And as Margaret Ann mentioned, we have a mandatory referral on the northern side, and that has a nice vegetative edge there. So these are just some random pictures throughout the site as far as existing conditions. And those are also showing Jackson Allen Road and just how the site looks currently. This is the original master plan for the originally approved PRD. And as we mentioned, it's all rear entry garages, rear loaded, all the guest parking's behind the structure. So we feel like it's going to have a really strong presentation from the road itself. And again, Jackson Allen's a very nice road as it stands. So between the two, Jackson Allen and Susan Landing, that's going to be a very intimate, nice feeling. When we went through the amendment portion, originally the amenities were in phase 1, and I just want to identify those. One is a dog park that Margaret Ann mentioned that's basically on the north side of the property. There's a large retaining pond on this property currently, and we'll have access to some of that as far as it bridges 2 property lines. But the dog park is up against that retaining pond. That's the park that's going to be expanded with our new request. The amenities that were associated with this, the pavilion and the playground, have been relocated to the new section. So I just want to bring that to your attention. So that whole portion on the rear side, on the eastern side of this development, has all changed as a result of acquiring the new property. So this is the new master plan. It's 11.6 acres, 105 units, as Margaret Ann mentioned, about a 9.5 unit per acre density. It's a combination of 3-bedroom, 79 3-bedroom, 26 2-bedroom. And Mr. Gilliland, from his experience, is real big on parking. So we're well over parked for what is needed, but from his experience, that's a really good thing as far as marketability of the community. And I know the city staff likes it as well, as I know y'all are excited about more parking as well. But again, the cool thing about it is the parking's behind the structure. So as far as aesthetically, that's not going to be anything that's visually a negative in terms of the visual character of the development. I'll just keep it on the master plan, and I think this is still hot. Well, the original dog park, as you can see, there's an area we had to reduce some parking where the dog park was to expand that. We had to the bocce ball court is now basically on the other side of where the playground area is, and there's already a pavilion that's basically on a central lawn area. One thing we're excited from the master's plan standpoint is all the homes in this development will have some sort of orientation towards green space. And that was real important for Mr. Gilliland, that the quality of life was you can be on your front porch, walk on a sidewalk, very walkable, interconnected sidewalks. and make sure that the presentation from the front of the homes is really pleasant for everybody. So we feel like it's going to be interesting because I think the little quadrants where the various units are will create their own little neighborhood feel, but also just really inviting for the whole neighborhood interface on that large event lawn area. So from a livability standpoint, we think it's going to be one of the nicer communities in town in terms of how people feel when they're actually living in the spaces we're creating. As far as the architecture, a lot of the vocabulary we're using in architecture now is very consistent on this project. Varied roof lines, front porches, a combination of masonry materials. I think the only thing different that Mr. Gilliland's doing that's really nice is his garages are detached on the back. So on the back of these units, you'll have a nice front porch which leads out to a green space, but on the back of the units, there's a gap that it gives you a little bit of green space on the back. There'd be a hardscape scenario, a little patio, but that gives opportunities for people to store things if they need to store their trash container. The garages have room for trash container storage, but it's just something you wouldn't expect in townhomes to have that really nice little courtyard area behind your house, in addition to a really nice front porch leading onto a green space. The other characteristic that's going to be important is just making sure that along Jackson Allen as well as Susan Landing, that there's a really nice foundation planting along the units. So Mr. Gilliland's committed to making sure that's a real street scenario, nice mature trees along the drives eventually. All the buildings have foundation plantings. So we want it to look lush and full as you drive down Jackson Allen. We want to make sure it just has a very sense of neighborhood character. Again, something we're seeing that more and more, but this is one of the first projects that I've been a part of that we're getting to do it as far as bringing that reduced front setback and really orienting the buildings closer to the road. The amenities were a big part of Planning Commission's concern. We had the pavilion and we had the dog park, as Margaret already mentioned. Your program books have a picture of the bocce ball court. Again, that's a flat lawn area that it's basically all kinds of ages can use that lawn area. So it's kind of a nice amenity in terms of it's a little bit more flexible in how users can use it. We did make the dog park larger just to make sure that it can accommodate the whole development. And as Mr. Smotherman is real committed to, that it's away from a playground area. So the dog park is kind of its own, I was about to say its own animal, but I'm going to say it's just its own destination. And so with that in mind, we feel like we've met the needs of the concerns that Planning Commission had in enlarging the dog park, adding the extra amenity were very important. And the pavilion is already kind of on a green lawn area. So that's an amenity we're not really claiming as an amenity, but I think it's going to be used as far as the neighborhood is concerned as a real critical meeting space for the development. So anytime I get to be a part of something where I feel like we're getting a lot of bang for the buck in terms of green space utilization, I feel like this project's really hitting in that direction. I think it's going to be the fact that all the front doors, no one's going to be seeing cars from their front porch. They're going to be seeing green. I think it's a real asset to this development and this design. So with that in mind, that's the brief presentation, but I'm here to answer your questions you may have. As I mentioned, Mr. Gilliland's here if you have any questions for him, and thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to introduce you to Regal Square.
All right, thank you, Ms. Roundtree. All right, we'll need to conduct a public hearing for this change. Any questions before we open the public hearing? All right. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this request, please come to the podium. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and we'll consider on first reading ordinance 18-OZ60, 2018-430.
I just want to say thanks to Clyde and your staff and group for doing such a fine job of addressing our concerns that we had at the Planning Commission. I know that we had some genuine concerns, and I think you did an excellent job with addressing those, and the amenities that you put in place really look nice. I think it's a fantastic project. If there's no questions or concern, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Wrightfield, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. Leadership Rutherford, unless y'all have now gone through a public hearing, unless y'all want to stay for the rest of the meeting, you are free to go, as long as you'll remember the 7 council members that are sitting up here at election time. Y'all are free to go. Thank y'all for coming.
Real subtle.
All right, we'll move into other land use items. We have a plan of services for annexation and zoning for approximately 113 acres located along Vills Road. Ms. Tomlin, I believe you have this one, don't you?
I do.
Awesome.
Matthew's.
I'm her technical support.
Something's going on here. All right. This is an annexation request that came to us. It's located along Vills Road. It's approximately 113 acres. They intend to put in 246 single-family homes. They will be on the step system out there. They're asking for 3 different zonings, which we'll get to that later. But you will need to conduct a public hearing. You have a plan of services before you. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, we'll need to conduct a public hearing for the plan of services and the annexation. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. This is for the plan of services and the annexation. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. We'll need to consider Resolution 18R-PS 61 to adopt the plan of services.
Mayor, I've talked with engineering earlier today, and I've got some concerns, especially legal concerns about the annexation of roadways where county is on both sides of the roadway. And I think that Adam Tucker, who's out of town right now, was wanting to comment on some of those concerns. Being he's not available, I would like to defer the vote on this.
Is that in the form of the motion?
I'll put it in the form of a motion.
Second.
All right. Mr. Ives, can we do a, since we're deferring the annexation and the plan of services, do we need to conduct a public hearing on the zoning request as well, or what do we need to do since we're deferring those?
I believe we can go ahead with the public hearing on the zoning.
Okay.
I think we anticipate that this annexation and plan of services will probably come back.
Okay.
And on that assumption, assuming there's anyone here, it's been announced, if anybody here would like to speak about the zoning, I believe it'd be appropriate to go ahead and take those comments at this time, and then we'll, I would expect we would certainly defer the zoning as well.
Okay. All right. We have a motion for deferral for Resolution 18R-PS 61 and Resolution 18R-A 61, the plan of services and the annexation.
Correct.
Vice Mayor Scales Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. We'll now need to conduct a public hearing to zone approximately 109.1 acres, RS6, RS10, and RS12. Ms. Tomlin.
All right, you have in front of you the map. Hopefully they're going to put that up. They're asking for 3 different zones here. Like I mentioned before, they would be coming in on the step system. So the overall density is consistent with the 2035 plan. Because of the step system, even though we're zoning the R6, the R12, and the R10, you would be allowed a great deal more density than what they're going to be able to put there because of the step system. So the step system will limit it where the zoning isn't. But they are proposing 246 single-family homes there, 3 different lot sizes. And you need to conduct a public hearing. And then I guess, will we make a recommendation on the zoning? I'm going to ask our city attorney there.
I believe there will be a motion to defer.
Okay, all right.
I have a quick question, Ms. Tomlin. Have we done any 6,000 square foot lots that have not been part of a planned development?
I could not answer that question for you. Maybe
Okay.
our
Yes.
We have, okay.
storied people here.
Yes, sir, we have.
Okay, all right. All right, we'll need to conduct a public hearing on this zoning request. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And council members, do we have a motion for deferral?
Move for deferral on item E.
All right, have a motion?
Second.
Have 2 seconds. Ms. Wright, will call the roll.
Vice Mayor Scales Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance. Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we'll now move to amend the residential district for approximately 22.5 acres in the Bell Tower Apartments, PRD 2018-432. Ms. Rush, I think you have this one.
Need a moment to, I'm short, so I have to reach over. Just roll up.
Page down.
All right, thank you. Good evening, council members. The purpose of the request for this rezoning of the planned residential development is to reduce the number of buildings from 7 down to 6 in order to create more open space. And this reduction would also include reducing the number of 2 and 3 bedroom units and increasing the number of 1 bedroom units. The total unit count within this development would remain the same. The building architecture and the materials also would remain the same. Murfreesboro 2035 shows that multifamily is the future land use appropriate for this particular area, and what is being proposed is consistent with that. The Planning Commission had held a hearing on this and forwarded a positive recommendation to the City Council, and staff is recommending you conduct a public hearing on this item, and the applicant, Mr. Mulchin, is here to make a presentation.
Thank you, Mayor McFarland, members of City Council, Rob Mulchin of the SEC. I'm here tonight to present to you an amendment request for a PRD amendment for Bell Tower Apartments. You saw this project about a year or so ago. We have come back, the owner has engaged in a new development team and have come back with a new, better proposal for the property than what we had a year or so ago on that side. So we'll go through the project real quick here. The property, as you see itself, is located on the north side of Highway 99, or New Salem Highway. It's located between St. Andrews and Cason Lane. It's immediately adjacent to the Westbury Apartments on the western side, as you can see on the aerial there on that side. Zoning classification is our existing PRD. We're just asking for an amendment to the plan. The existing zonings around it, more or less, is a lot of RM to the Westbury Apartments on the western side. You have some RM and CH that are on the east, north, and south sides of the property. That's associated with Myrtle Bell property, which is with this property as part of that project as well. And you have an RSA1 classification to the northwest. That is a duplex community on the northwest corner of the property itself. Look through a couple of pictures. This is a picture from the site itself, looking at Highway 99. This is the view back down 99 towards Cason Lane. This is a picture of one of the existing structures on the property, an old barn. There's an existing home to go that is adjacent to this as well. And this is looking across 99 back into the site. Is pretty much agricultural property at this time. The current plan that's already been approved talks about 384 apartments for a density of about 17 dwelling units per acre. It had about 7.91 acres of open space. Moving forward to today's proposal, as Marina talked about, we're staying with the same 384 units at the 17 unit dwelling units per acre, but we're increasing our open space to 4.36 acres of open space. We're doing that through the reduction of the actual amount of structures on the property. We were taking it from 7 structures down to 6. We're also doing that in the process of re-looking at the amount of types of units inside. So we reduced the amount of bedrooms from the 2 and 3 bedrooms down 88 units and increasing the 1 bedroom units by 88. So that's how we're being able to maintain the existing 384 units on the property, even though we're reducing the amount of buildings on the property. So in reducing the amount of units and reducing the amount of buildings, we've actually decreased the required amount of parking by about 95 spaces. And coming back and with the proposal, we're actually decreasing the amount of parking we're providing by 105 spaces overall. So a great reduction in the amount of parking surface. The reduction of a structure has allowed us to move up another additional 4 acres of green space on the property to make this much more greener on the inside and along the edges of the property. This will be a gated, walkable community with a very centrally located clubhouse. All the buildings will be centered around a retention lake and along the lining roadways that along Highway 99 and the entrance road coming into the development. This will have a mixture of mostly surface parking, but it will have 6 garage structures involved as well. So we'll be providing an abundance of parking, so we'll have enough for guest parking to go along with resident parking as well. This property will be taking advantage of a concierge trash service, so that'll be looking at you will leave your trash at the doorstep of your apartment on trash day, and a trash service will come through the apartment complex, pick up your trash, and take it to the dumpster or compactor for your services on that side. There'll also be an on-site management staff to manage the apartment complex as well. The buildings themselves, we're talking about 4-story buildings, similar to what we had in the previously approved plan. We're looking at units that will be ranging from 750 square feet up to about 1,500 square feet. There'll be 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms associated with this. The first floor will have a gate, will have a access controlled system, so you'll have to have a code or a gate card to get through into the building, so adding an extra level of security to the complex on that side. And there'll also be elevators involved with the structures being 4 stories. This is a view. This is a vision of what we see: a 2-bedroom unit and the 3-bedroom unit as well. Very spacious. The buildings themselves will be incorporating pretty much the same types of materials that were in the previously approved plan. We're looking at stone, cement, fiber board. We're using some standing seam metal roofing for decorative awnings and such and that, and architectural shingles across the board. And as you can see here in the illustration on the bottom, this is one of the front elevations. And this is a very well-articulated building. It's got a lot of different structures and masses to it, so it's a very appeasing look and aesthetics, whether it's on the internal side or the external side of the property. And a couple other views of some of the other elevations of the buildings. The amenities, the Bell Tower apartment will have a very vast array of amenities on this. But I talked earlier about the very centrally located. As you can see, the clubhouse itself is located in the center of the property, so it's very easily within short walking distance of all the residents of the units. Here you'll be associated with the clubhouse functions, the recreational room, guest entertainment space, but also the main complex will be the pool, deck, gazebo, hot tub, barbecue area and such on that side, with a view out across to the retention pond that you see on the right-hand side. Along that retention pond, we're proposing a sidewalk complex that will create more of a walking trail around the lake. You talked about the little gazebo area that's associated with this. You'll have like a pool table and such on the inside of this, so it is a very appeasing amenity to go along with the clubhouse. We'll also be looking at a separate pavilion structure that's on the other side of the lake that'll give another gathering space for residents and a place for relaxation and sitting. We're also looking at some active amenities on that side. So we're looking at 2 sand volleyball courts on different places of amenities, one by the amenity clubhouse and then one over by the pavilion, kind of spread it out so the residents can get to all the different pieces. Looking at including a pet park along the periphery of the project there next to Westbury Apartments on that side. And also a recreational area for the kids, the playground and such on that side as well. I talked a little bit about garage structures. We've got 6 different garages located in about 5 different locations on the site, so well scattered. Those will be for rent with their units themselves. The architectural character of these will be matching what you have in regards to the actual buildings themselves with stone and hardy board and such. And also including a maintenance building. That'll be the maintenance building for the grounds being taken care of on that side, but we're also providing with this a car washing station as well for the residents to utilize to wash their cars. In regards to access, as I talked about, this is just one piece of the overall Myrtle Bell property. As you can see, this the overall master plan was approved a few years ago, but this is just one piece. We'll be looking at, with this property, extending the first piece of the actual roadway structure for the overall property. And that piece will be this little leg right here coming off of 99, which will give access to both of our entrance points, and these will be 2 gated entrance points to the development on that side. So this will be a very well-secured relationship to what I talked about in regards to security on that side. Appreciate your time and consideration of this project, and I'm open for any questions now after the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malshon. All right, we'll now need to conduct a public hearing for this PRD change. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. We'll consider for first reading ordinance 18-OZ62.
Mr. Malshon, I'm sorry, I could have gotten you beforehand. Is there any kind of change in this plan book other than what you've outlined, i.e. the buffer is the same and all that kind of stuff? Or none of that's changed, right?
None of that changed. Everything else we've had in regards to the periphery is pretty much the same on that side. It's just more or less the restructuring of reduction of the amount of buildings and the restructuring of the unit masses inside the buildings on that.
Okay. All right, good deal. I remember when we did this the last time, there was quite a bit of
we
discussion.
had talked about, the planning commission, there was a little discussion when the residents on the RSA section had come in and re-questioned us about that. We were still maintaining that separational factor. I think it was 260 feet from the corner of that property, and talked about doing the berming and buffering as part of that still, as part of the package, so.
All righty. Any more questions? If there's not, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion and double second. Ms. Wright, if you'll please call the roll. It's Jinx.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. We'll now move into rezoning approximately .55 acres located along Brandy Circle. Ms. Rush, I think you have this one as well.
That's all you. Does it switch back?
It's out by the movie theater.
Thanks. Thank you for your patience. This particular zoning application is for approximately half an acre to be rezoned from OG, which is an office designation, to CF, Commercial Fringe, located at 514 Brandy Circle. The applicant is wishing to rezone this property because they're interested in doing a commercial use in the addition that's already been a permitted office use. The owner is hoping to lease space for a dry cleaning business in there and possible other commercial uses. The dry cleaner is a permitted use by right in the CF zoning district, but it's not allowed in the OG district. The future land use map of the Murfreesboro 2035 Comprehensive Plan recommends Business Park as the most appropriate land use for this property. OCF is not a consistent zoning district with this particular designation. Just to be noted, though, there are surrounding properties with similar zoning of the CF that are also designated as business park in the future land use map. And just to let everyone know, the Planning Commission last month had adopted changes to the future land use map for all the ones that the city had adopted in terms of rezonings where it was not consistent. So the Planning Department is working very closely with the Planning Commission to make sure that our future land use map will reflect what's actually being rezoned. When the Comprehensive 2035 plan was done, it was intended for it to be flexible because you cannot anticipate the precise zoning and land use for a city of our size and diversity and complexity. So it is something that we are able to make those amendments, and we will be keeping on top of that. The Planning Commission had, for this project, recommended approval to the City Council, and I'll take any questions if the Council has them.
Any questions for Ms. Rush? All right, we'll need to conduct a public hearing for this rezoning request. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. We'll consider for first reading ordinance 18 OZ 63.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Ms. Wright, if you'll please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman. Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. We'll now move into a zoning ordinance amendment pertaining to minimum distance between self-service storage facilities and street intersections. This is brought by the Planning Department. Mr. Anthony.
Good evening, Mayor. This proposed zoning ordinance amendment would require a minimum distance of 300 feet between any self-service storage facility and any major intersection. Excuse me. For purposes of this specific amendment, A major intersection would be defined as the intersection of any two arterial streets, any two collector streets, or any one arterial street and any one collector street. With the growing number of self-service storage facilities in Murfreesboro, planning staff wanted to ensure that properties at our high visibility, highly traveled intersections remain available as employment centers and revenue generators for the city. Self-service storage facilities typically do not serve either of those purposes and are really better suited for properties away from those types of nodes. Staff presented this item at the October 3rd, 2018 Planning Commission meeting, and the Planning Commission voted unanimously to send this forward to you with a favorable recommendation. I do want to point out that there is at least one self-service storage facility currently in the planning process, having already had a pre-application conference, and it is our intent to treat that as a project in progress and not apply this regulation should you approve it. Just want to make that aware, especially for the planning commissioners who might see that coming forward. Staff can answer any questions that you may have.
Is that the project on Sulphur Springs Road, Northfield, you're referring to?
No, that one's already approved.
Okay, that's good.
That was a planned development, wasn't it? Or,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. I like what you've done here. It keeps, I think in hindsight, the development that Mr. Smotherman's talking about, going down a hill, that's a tough use for that, but this gives us the ability to be able to look at these types of developments that come through and make sure that they're fitting with what's happening in the area. So, and I know Mr. Smotherman and Mr. Wade both brought this up on one that we recently looked at. All right, we'll need to conduct a public hearing on this. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this zoning amendment, please come to the podium. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. We'll consider on first reading ordinance 18065.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Wright, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we'll now have annexation progress reports. Mr. Cooper is bringing those. Bat and cleanup, Mr. Cooper.
Yeah. This is, if you remember back, the first round of annexation progress reports that we've been going through here. All of the affected areas have either had city services extended to them or are available pending development. Staff recommends that you conduct a public hearing and pass a motion approving the annexation progress reports. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask.
All right, we'll need to conduct a public hearing for these annexation progress reports. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. All right, seeing none, we'll need to approve the annexation progress reports.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Wright.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we have Planning Commission recommendations to schedule public hearings. Mr. Blomley.
Thank you, Mayor McFarland, and good evening, Mayor McFarland and members of council. We have 4 public hearings that we need to schedule tonight. All were recommended for approval by the Planning Commission on November the 7th. These 4 public hearings can be easily handled in one evening. Staff would recommend a public hearing date for all 4 of January 17th, 2019. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
What was the date again?
January 17th.
Okay.
Will we have workshop on the 9th?
Let me pull up January here. Yes. We'll have a workshop on the 9th, and then the 17th would be the next Thursday.
All right.
Doesn't sound like a whole lot of conflicts. I'm going to say let's set it for January 17th.
Motion and second. Ms. Wright will call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we'll now need to schedule public hearings for annexation progress reports. Mr. Cooper.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is just another round of annexation progress reports. Planning recommends that you schedule the public hearing for December 20th. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
We don't need any 30-day notice or anything.
Ms. Machado, do we
Just need reasonable notice.
just need 2 weeks' notice is okay on that for a public hearing?
There's, I actually consulted with Mr. Ives before we scheduled the first round of public hearings, or the first round that we had tonight. There's nothing in the statute that specifies an amount of time. We like to get 15 days, and we've already got the notice to the post in anticipation of a December 20th public hearing date, and it'll run next Tuesday the 4th, which will give us 16 days.
All right, great. So December 20th, that will be our last, I assume our last meeting of the year?
Right.
Okay.
Second.
Who made the motion?
Motion.
Move for approval.
And a second.
Okay. Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. We'll now have a mandatory referral for an abandonment of a portion of Cedar View Drive right-of-way and a drainage easement south of Cedar View Drive. Planning staff is the applicant. Ms. Green.
Thank you again. Good evening again. You have before you the request, which I alluded to in my earlier presentation, to abandon a portion of Cedar View Drive right-of-way. This is a 311 linear foot segment of right-of-way that currently terminates into the back of a single-family home. The city has no anticipation of this right-of-way extending in the future, and we, after doing some research, have provided a memo for you that outlines the city's response to abandoning this, and essentially we feel comfortable with abandoning this portion of right-of-way. The city doesn't see a need for it, and by including it in Mr. Gillian's development, he'll be responsible for maintaining it. The city will no longer have responsibility for maintaining it, and will be able to develop it as a part of the plan. The memo, which I've included in your staff report, does outline what will be needed, and there are some easements that we will be required to maintain. That drainage easement was studied by our city engineering department, and they're comfortable with abandoning this drainage easement because the development plan will relocate it. So although in this area it will be abandoned, it will be relocated in another area. That's a matter of ordinary business technically. So if you do approve this, which was the recommendation of the Planning Commission, no public hearing is required, but we do ask that you place some conditions on approval. These are exact same conditions that the Planning Commission placed on it. And the first is that the applicant shall provide the city legal department any necessary documentation to prepare the quitclaim deed. The second is that the applicant shall be responsible for recording the quitclaim deed. Third will be that a plat combining the quitclaim deed right-of-way with the adjacent property to create a legal lot of record must be recorded, and that the plat shall also relocate the drainage easement to location to be approved by the city engineer. Fourth, utility easements must be dedicated as needed to accommodate any existing utilities, including water and sewer mains, which we know exist in the area. And the last and fifth is the right-of-way abandonment is contingent upon the zoning for the Village of Regal Square PRD becoming effective, and that's the first public hearing that came from Planning Commission before you tonight. You did decide to approve it, and you will be required to approve it on second reading. So this would all be dependent on that happening. If you have any questions, I'm glad to answer them. This is a matter of ordinary business.
All right, any questions?
Do we need a second?
Yes.
I move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Ms. Wright, if you'll please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we'll move into a mandatory referral for abandonment of right-of-way along West Lytle Street and Barker Street. Planning. Ms. Tomlin.
Okay, this is another right-of-way abandonment. It's 155 linear feet of Barker Street, also 245 linear feet of West Lytle Street. You have the staff memo that tells you what utilities need easements and those type of things. I do want to point out, however, that the engineering department has indicated that Barker Street would be converted to one-way traffic with the traffic flowing northbound from West College Street to West Lytle Street. But they were okay with this. Planning Commission unanimously voted to recommend approval of this request, subject to the typical the four conditions. The applicant shall be required to submit the necessary documents to the legal department required to draft the quitclaim deed. The applicant shall be responsible for the recording of the quitclaim deed. The abandoned right-of-way shall be incorporated into the existing parcel via a subdivision plat recorded at the Register of Deeds office, and any utility easement or right-of-way shall be retained to accommodate existing and proposed utilities. And you don't need to conduct a public hearing on this. Just need to discuss it and move.
Any questions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Ms. Shrike?
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we'll now look at a right-of-way acquisition services for Bradyville Pipe Widening Project.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Before you, we have a request to consider consulting contracts for services necessary to initiate the Bradyville Pike right-of-way phase. Staff recommends approval of the following contracts: project management and negotiation contract with Volkert, appraisal service contract with Gregory Peck and Associates, review appraisal services contract with B.G. Jones and Company. Give you a little background. June of 2018, the city received letters of interest and qualifications from acquisitions firms for the right-of-way services for approximately 150 tracts along the Bradyville Pike corridor, consisting of residential and commercial properties. Based on qualifications and TDOT's pre-qualification list, the firms were selected for each of their distinct roles. The city has recently received the notice to proceed for the right-of-way phase for the Bradyville Pike project from TDOT. When federal dollars are involved in the purchase of right-of-way, the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Properties Acquisition Policies Act processes and procedures are required. If you do not follow them, basically you can lose federal funding. This policy requires separation of duties between appraisals, review appraisals, and negotiation services, thus requiring the need for the three firms. The council priorities served are safe and livable neighborhoods and a strong and sustainable financial and economic health. The fiscal impact of these contracts, contract with Volkert for project management and negotiation service are estimated to be around $450,000. Contract with Gregory Peck and Associates for appraisal services are estimated to be about $100,000, and contract with B&G Jones and Company LLC for review appraisals services are estimated to be about $100,000. Please remember, all project costs will be funded with an 80% federal dollars and 20% local dollars up to the city's maximum allowability. The city's maximum allowability on this project is $366,880. The right-of-way phase would be $146,878. With that said, I'm available to answer any questions.
What's the term that this, how long is this going to take to do?
We're thinking about it's about 2 years with 150 tracks. Remember, we're actually buying TDOT right-of-way, so it's a little bit longer process.
Glad to see it move. I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Wright?
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move into, we have one beer permit that unless I'm missing any. Is that all we
You're
have?
correct, just one tonight. It's one different from what we've had before. It's for a music rehearsal area that would like to sell beer, and it's at 1203 Park Avenue. Their application is in order. The background check is in order. They do need to finish their building codes inspections before we could issue the permit, should you approve it tonight.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Ms. Wright?
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we have no board and commission appointments. Any statements to be paid? Looks
Yes,
like
Mayor,
we have one.
we have one tonight. It's for our share of the TSSAA Girls Soccer Gate. And that bill came in from Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Move we pay the bills.
Second.
Motion second. Ms. Wright, if you'll call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we'll move into other business. Mr. Whitaker.
Mayor, members of council, there's a contract amendment before you tonight. Actually came before you earlier this year, and it's to sell property on Med Center Parkway to Swanson Development. The reason we're bringing it back to you, at that time, we did not have the actual property descriptions and the surveying finished. That has been done, so now we're bringing it, the contract back to you. We hope to close this if approved by the 14th or before. The amount has not changed. It's just, like I said, housekeeping. This was previously approved by Council, Plan Commission, and the Gateway Commission. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions. Mr. Ives has done most of the work on this. He can also try to answer, and Mr. Crumley, who is not here, but I've got him on speed dial if we need him, though.
Any questions?
Move for approval.
All right, second.
Motion is second. Ms. Wright, if you'll please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. Do we have any other business? Mr. Tyndall, Mr. Ives,
None here.
Nothing for me.
Mr. Gore. All right.
Oakland's leading 10-0 with about 2 minutes left in the first half. Go Oakland.
Pats.
Patriots rule.
That's right. Please make sure and go see MTSU play this weekend. There could be a tax increase if you don't show up to see MTSU play. I guarantee that'd be.
Buy a ticket, you could go see the basketball game after.
That's exactly right. MTSU plays at 5 o'clock. The men's basketball team does. So if you buy a ticket, you get to go to both games for free.
You hear that, Joe?
So go see them play, please. Support these young men and women. All right. Thank you. We'll stand adjourned.